Hello, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to the unproduced script written by George R. R. Martin, Max Headroom.
The sheep, we've got them.
Max Headroom, Xmas. Fade in, interior, network, 23, control, day. The usual chaos with a festive flavor, the annual Xmas party is winding up. The office is festooned with plastic and cardboard Xmas decorations. Murray and Theora stand by a bowl of egg-flavored nog as various other staffers depart to calls of Merry Xmas and good shopping. Edison enters, swimming against the tide, in a glum mood, returning none of the holiday greetings. On the screens throughout the control room, we see the opening credits of the Zigzag Xmas telethon. Zigzag's 12 hours of Xmas, subliminal images of thousands of products flicker across the screen. The telethon host descends on a riser surrounded by a dozen beautiful models. This is Uncle Xmas, the 20 minutes into the future version of Santa Claus, considerably flashier than the original. He has the white hair and the beard, but not the belly. In place of the red suit, he is a lovely green with a silver metallic fringe hanging from his arms to match his silver mirror shades. The whole suit is electrified, a la Electric Cowboy, and tiny multicolored Xmas lights blink on and off constantly.
Good job.
You were supposed to be here an hour ago. The telethon's already beginning. Aunt Xaviera will have my head.
Sorry, do you have any idea what it's like trying to get a rickshaw on Xmas?
What happened to your car?
Out of gas.
Don't tell me they've closed the stations again.
Only to me. I bought a new money management program, Credit Chum. Insists that I've already exceeded my monthly fuel allowance.
I warned you not to fritter away all your credit on meaningless things like food and shelter.
Merry Xmas, Max.
Xmas? Where are my presents? No presents?
Bah, humbug.
Ebenezer Headroom? Well, at least we know where he gets his bad attitude.
I hate Xmas.
Where did he go wrong, Max?
Well, he never did get that BB gun he wanted when he was 8.
You could have put your eye out.
Or that redhead he wanted when he was 18.
On that note,
Blow-up doll when he was 19.
On that note, I think I'll flee. I have to play Uncle Xmas to Xaviera's brood. Even that's better than another holiday shift.
It won't be bad. 12 long, slow hours. Nothing to do, just the two of us, all alone, in an empty newsroom.
Wrong.
Wrong?
This year, I'm having an old-fashioned Xmas with Sean and Winnie. Family, television, home shopping, the whole bit.
Ouch. You can't leave me here alone. What if a story breaks?
Oh, we wouldn't want to leave you alone, would we, Max?
It's not a bad idea.
Henry.
Henry, a 300-pound pasty-faced teenager, detaches himself from the group of others and approaches. He has a big cup of egg-flavored nog in one hand and a half-eaten pastry in the other, and is chewing busily as he approaches.
Edison Carter. Henry Mumfrey.
Edison looks aghast. Henry looks as though he'd like to shake his hand, but both of them are full.
I've been a fan of yours since I was in creche.
Henry is interning with us for 2 weeks, Edison. He'll be your controller today. 12 long, slow hours. Nothing to do. Just the two of you, alone, in an empty newsroom.
Interior, Network 23 boardroom day. Cheviot, Edwards, Lauren, and Ashwell sit around the table watching Uncle Xmas on the big screen.
At this very special time of a very special year, the Zigzag Corporation is pleased to announce a very special promotion. A credit grant as large as the imagination for some lucky person who embodies the true spirit of Xmas. So lift those remotes and buy. because the viewer who spends the most on Zigzag products and services will receive all their purchases absolutely free. Let's hear it for the Xmas spirit!
As the studio audience begins to cheer wildly, the big screen switches to a rating display. Network 23 is way out in front of all the opposition and building.
Sheer brilliance. Zigzag expects triple its holidays gross of this promotion, and our telethon ratings have never been this strong. Projections indicate we will win all 12 hours overwhelmingly.
And without spending a cent on programming.
This is the ultimate game show, gentlemen.
If this concept could be adapted to the rest of the year.
Then we wouldn't need a programming department, would we, Ashwell?
Ashwell, realizing the truth of that, looks suddenly abashed. Cheviot smiles serenely and folds his hands. As he speaks, Max appears in the background on the screen and mugs shamelessly at Cheviot's story.
I will confess, however, I love the holidays as much as anyone. This uncertain time of cutthroatness, timelessness, I think we all need Xmas. It's traditions.
Yeah.
It takes me back to when my father would dress up as Uncle Xmas and lead us all in home shopping.
Kinky. And Tiny Tim said, God bless us, everyone.
Exterior, big time television day. The pink bus is festooned with plastic wreaths and Xmas lights, the old-fashioned bubbler type. Interior, big time bag, close on monitor. A steady shot of an electric Yule log burning fills the screen while we hear a traditional Xmas song, Madonna's Material Girl. The angle widens and we see the interior of the van, decorated for the holiday. A pair of stockings, an Argyle sock with a hole in the toe, and a fishnet stocking hanging on either side of the monitor. Blank Reg, wearing a tattered but traditional Santa Claus suit, paws frankly through his inventory of ancient videos, searching for something. Dom, in the background, is calmly applying makeup.
Dom, you've got to help me find it.
Honestly, Reg.
The Madonna song ends. Reg seats himself at the console to do the segue while queuing up his next tape.
More traditional holiday music coming right up here on big time television, where we play yesterday's shows today for the people of tomorrow. And remember to stay tuned for the big time Xmas marathon. All the shows you know and love, just the same as last year and the year before.
Over the continuing picture of the burning log, he starts in Janis Joplin's Mercedes-Benz.
But it won't be the same as last year, Dom. Not unless I find it.
Just play something else.
It's a classic. What kind of holiday show would it be without Christmas on Gilligan's Island?
Well, it can't be helped. I'm already late to see Mom.
She'll wait. Dead people are very patient.
Never liked Mom.
We got on fine when she was alive. And she loved Christmas on Gilligan's Island.
Just
sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip.
Interior, Network 23, control room, day. The control room is dark and deserted, silent, but for the tiny sound of the Zigzag telethon playing on the monitors. Edison stands at a vending machine. He inserts his credit rod, punches for a cup of coffee. No coffee is forthcoming. Instead, the machine speaks in an unctuous, patronizing, and infuriating voice.
This is your credit, chum. Is this purchase really necessary?
Yes.
This is your credit, chum. You have already overspent your food and beverage budget for the month.
Okay, look, I'm locked up here for 12 hours with Max, Henry, and you. Give me my coffee. I'm a desperate man.
This is your credit, chum. This purchase will be deducted from next month's credit line. Please plan accordingly.
A styrofoam cup fills the fills with gray, watery coffee. Edison tastes the beverage and makes a face. Exterior, Morpheus, Corporation Day. The building is long, low, windowless, a converted warehouse with a fancy facade. The stylized logo on the side of the structure incorporates Morpheus Corporation and the infinity symbol. Underneath, in smaller letters, are the words cryonics, storage, and revival. Interior, Morpheus Corporation Day, tight on big screen. A huge television set dominates one entire wall of the building's interior. On screen is a Zigzag telethon. We pull back slowly from the screen to reveal the interior, a huge, high-ceiling cryonics chamber. The room is dimly lit, still, and very, very cold. Icicles drape the colored pipes that run along 3 walls. The 4th wall is lined by monitor screens and a computer databanks of a particularly antiquated appearance. We move back, revealing row after row of silent bodies laid out neatly on black plastic slabs, their feet facing the giant television. There are thousands of bodies stored here, bodies of every race, sex, and age. They wear skimpy standard-issue body stockings. Tubes and wires connect them to the slabs on which they rest. We intercut between the various patrons, a lovely young woman, a muscular man with ice in his thick beard, a child, a cat. Patches of frost rime their faces and skin. Their eyes are uniformly open, staring up at the big screen. Angle on Dooley, a small, fussy-looking man of about 60 lying on one of the slabs at the back of the room. His eyes are open, staring at the big screen. Dooley wears a thick hooded parka with a Morpheus logo, but when we first see him, he seems so still and stiff, his expression so graven in ice, that he could be mistaken for one of the clients. Then, we hear a sound of a buzzer. Dooley blinks, sits up, and climbs down from the slab. He crosses the room to the wide, insulated door, touches some controls, and activates a small telescreen beside the door. Close on screen, where Dom's face appears.
Hello in there. I'm here to visit my mom.
Dooley smiles, punches some buttons, the heavy door slides open, and Dom steps in. As they speak, their breath steams in the frigid air of the chamber.
Mr. Dooley?
Well, be quick about it now. Can't have all the cold air escaping. Would you believe you're the first visitor today? People just don't care like they used to. We used to have to limit the visitors to 50 at a time on Xmas Day. The body heat, you know, warms up the room dreadfully. Well, there's no fretting over that now. What's wrong with people these days? Well, come on now. I'm missing my program. She's still in the same place, you know.
He leads Dom briskly across the room to where her old mom is laid out on a slab much like all the others. Dom leans over and kisses Mom's blue frozen cheek.
She's very comfortable, I assure you. Such a good view of the screen from here.
Mom always did enjoy her telly.
It's very important, the television. We learn in our sleep, you know. Death is no reason to turn off our televisions.
Mom felt just the same way. The last thing she told me before, you know.
Before her nap.
Exactly. She said she didn't mind if it took 100 years before they could, well, bring her back, just so long as she didn't miss out on her favorite programs.
I know. And don't worry. I'm sure they'll have a wonderful large screen at the new facility.
Before Julie's remark quite registers on Dom, they are interrupted by a raucous sound of alarm bells ringing.
Oh, dread. Not again. Excuse me.
What is it? What's wrong?
Nothing to fret over, dear. A computer failure of sorts. Perfectly routine, seasonal even. It happens every other Xmas. All the credit transfers jam up all the downtown mainframes, and we've got a low priority timeshare. So we get booted right out of the system. Very rude, if you ask me.
We can't let anything happen to Mom.
They reach the computer station where the glass panels lined with frost shield the equipment from the cold. Julie takes out a key, unlocks a panel, revealing some monitors, a keyboard, etc. Red lights are flashing, and the monitor indicates all systems overload. Julie begins to enter some commands. This is nothing he hasn't handled before.
She'll be fine, dear. I'll just shift our maintenance routines in-house until the mainframe's clear again tomorrow morning. Very simple. See?
Julie hits one final key. The alarm stops. The red lights go dark. The warning on the monitor vanishes to be replaced by a routine flow of data. Vault temperature, status reports on individual guests, etc. Julie smiles at Dom. He's very pleased with himself.
Well, that's better.
She has spoken no sooner than the alarm sounds once more, briefly, and then the entire computer station goes dark simultaneously. The lights go out, the monitor fills with nonsense and dies. The humming stops, and an impressive electrical discharge flickers across the console for a short, terrifying instant. The alarm winds down into a whimper and then silence, and all the lights go out except for the towering television screen.
I told them we had better defrost.
Interior Network 23 Control Day. Henry Mumphrey sits at the Aura station watching the telephone. Max is also watching from another screen. As Edison wanders up behind Henry, on screen, Uncle Xmas is doing a split-screen video interview with a midget.
Who is that?
He's had the most Xmas spirit so far. He just buys 6 of everything they offer. That's the secret.
Henry, has to be something happening out there. Find me a story.
It's Xmas.
I noticed.
Nothing happens on Xmas. Everybody just sits in front of the TV and buys presents for themselves.
Well, why aren't you home buying presents, Henry?
You know what I like most about today's young people? It's their energy, their enthusiasm, their initiative.
My mother froze my credit until I lose 50 pounds.
Well, find me a story and I'll let you use my credit.
Really?
Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive.
Did anyone call for Jiminy Cricket around here?
I will thank you not to compare me to an insect, sir. They have 6 times as many legs as I do.
Henry has been looking for Max to Edison, totally baffled by the whole exchange. He's distracted when the view phone call comes in. Angle on view phone, it's blank Reg calling from big time television.
Edison, sorry to bash up your Xmas mate, but Dom needs your help.
Do I still get to use your credit?
Of course, I'll help. What's wrong with Dom?
It's her mum.
I thought Dom's mother was dead and buried.
Worse, dead and frozen. In the arms of Morpheus.
Are they the ones who freeze you and then thaw you out and bring you back to life later?
Half right, mate.
Well, they've got the freezing part down pat. If they ever figure out the rest of it, they'll be in business.
They better figure it out soon then. Dom says they've lost all temperature code. Mum is starting to thaw.
End of Act 1. Act 2.
Stop that.
Act 2, exterior, network 23, chopper pad. A single network chopper is waiting when Edison emerges, its rotors already beginning to rev up. Edison ducks under the blades and climbs into the copter. The pilot, wearing a helmet with full face mask, gets an airborne immediately. Edison doesn't recognize him.
Who are you? Where's Keith?
The chopper dips alarmingly, veering to one side. Edison grabs hold and hangs on for dear life as they careen through the sky. The pilot turns to him.
I'm Sissy! Fly me!
She lifts her helmet visor. She's a girl who looks to be about 16 going on 12. She's fascinated by Edison, so much that she doesn't watch where she's flying.
I'm an intern. All the regular pilots are off today on account of the holiday. Hey, don't worry. I've had plenty of lessons.
Look out!
A tower looms up ahead of them suddenly, and Sissy turns barely in time to avoid a collision. But when she returns back to the white-faced Edison, she's beaming.
See, I'm better than those old guys. Kids my age have the better reflexes.
Are you sure you're supposed to be up here?
Well, I'm not really supposed to fly solo. But this isn't flying solo, is it? After all, you're with me.
As the chopper goes into another terrifying veer.
Ooh.
Exterior, Morpheus Corporation Day. The Network 23 chopper thumps down in front of Morpheus, and Edison climbs out, only too glad to be back on the ground. He's not the only one there. A handful of vehicles, automobiles, pedicabs, trucks, and an ice cream wagon are parked near the door, and concerned relatives are coming and going. Angle on Edison as he approaches the building. The exterior door slides open as he arrives, and Dooley hurries out, almost knocking into Edison. Edison recognizes the Morpheus logo on Dooley's parka.
Oh, hold on. I want to ask you a few questions.
I can't. I don't. Just ask the new man. I'm no longer. Someone needs to make an ice run. Oh, it's terrible, terrible. All the guests. Oh, the humanity.
He dashes away, and Edison watches him baffled.
An ice run?
He lifts his vidicam, opens lines back to control. We intercut between Edison in front of Morpheus and Henry back at the Network 23 control room.
Henry, I'm going in. Henry, do you read me? Henry!
Your credit chum won't let me buy anything.
I'm going into Morpheus now. Can you follow me?
Yeah. It wasn't fair what you did.
Okay, well, if you're nice, I'll let you play with Max.
Whoa. I am not a plush toy.
Stand by to go live and direct.
Edison pushes through the doors into Morpheus complex, interior Morpheus cryonics chamber. Tracking with Edison by the flickering light of the zigzag telephone up on the big screen, a handful of people widely scattered around the huge room can be seen to be engaged in a frantic activity. They are all relatives and visitors of the frozen dead, trying to preserve their loved ones. Series of shots. As Edison begins his story, we intercut objective shots of Edison and the relatives with Vidicam point of views. Water drips off the icicles on the walls. A man methodically covers a young woman with a bag after bag of ice. Up on the big screen, Uncle Xmas demonstrates a personal rocket pack, its flaming exhaust a grim counterpoint to the scene in the cryonics chamber. The two men carry an air conditioning unit across the room, rolling out lengths of an extension cord as they go. A small man with a rolled-up magazine fearlessly swipes at a much bigger man who is trying to snatch chunks of ice off the small man's grandmother. Overall, the proceeding, we hear Edison's narration.
This is Edison Carter coming to you live and direct from the Morpheus Corporation, where Xmas Day is anything but a day of celebration. Morpheus, the world's oldest and largest cryonic mortuary for decades, has sold the hope of bodily immortality to the incurable optimists among us. Thousands have entrusted themselves and their loved ones to the cold, comforting arms of Morpheus. But now, a computer breakdown threatens to thaw these dead before their time, while friends and relatives of the frozen struggle to avert this catastrophe.
A little old lady, surrounded by empty shopping carts, is stacking small cardboard boxes all around her cat. We move in close and see that the boxes are marked Mr. Meat's Frozen Feline Feast. The little old lady looks up at the Vidicam.
It's his favorite. I always bring him a box on Xmas.
But this year you've brought him 100 boxes.
Oh, I have to keep his little paws cold.
Angle on big screen as Max suddenly appears on screen goggling.
Wow! Talk about a captive audience. Hey! Hey down there! It's me! Max Headroom! Come on, wake up and smell the coffee, guys! Funny, they don't usually drink 212 cups at home.
I hate to say it. I think they're dead.
Let me know if their condition changes. And now, Network 23 is proud to present that Xmas classic, It's a Wonderful Death. Quick! Fourth row, third slab. I think he moved.
Max!
Oh, look, he's twitching.
Max, we're live on an important story here.
He's emitting gas. Clear the room.
Interior Network 23 Control. Close on the controller screen where an error message flashes. Error, please re-enter. The angle widens to show Henry punching keys as a very unhappy Edison appears on the view phone.
Henry, we did go live and direct on that one, didn't we?
Not exactly.
Not exactly.
I'm having a little problem. I think I got it now.
Henry pushes another key and his screen dissolves into complete computer gibberish, a Geico nightmare of random symbols repeating endlessly. He punches keys madly, but he can't get it to stop until Max materializes on screen looking sympathetic.
Oh, can you draw me? If so, you may have a future in the glamorous world of commercial illustration.
Interior Morpheus cryonics vault. Edison, looking truly disgusted, lifts the Vidicam for another go, focuses on a woman hovering over her mother. Vidicam point of view. As the woman turns, it's Dom, of course.
Edison!
There you are. Blank Reg called me.
Him! Mom is going to melt and he's having Christmas with the beaver.
I'm not going to say anything.
By the arrival of They are interrupted by the arrival of Jerome Wacker, an intense young executive with the smile and charm of a piranha. He enters flanked by a dozen hard-looking security men in security systems uniforms.
Precisely what are you doing in our vault, sir? This is private property. Get them out, all of them.
You can't do that. Mr. Dooley wouldn't allow it. I have a right to visit my mom.
Mr. Dooley has just been discharged for gross incompetence. And Morpheus Corporation contracts make no mention of any sort of visitation rights. Out. Both of... You're Edison Carter.
And you're live and direct on Network 23. What I want to know is what you intend to do to rectify this calamity, Mr.
Jerome Wacker. The Morpheus Corporation is deeply concerned, and we're doing everything in our power to remedy the situation. The situation is under control.
Is that why you're so eager to throw out your visitors and bar the press?
Really now, Mr. Carter, that's not fair. This is an emergency, and these people are, underfunded.
How much time remains before your clients suffer irreparable tissue damage?
I'm not certain. We'll be working as fast as we can.
How long until the cryonic fluids require replacement?
I don't... See here, Mr. Carter, I don't have to answer all these impertinent questions.
I remind you that we're live and direct on Network 23.
Yes, the fluids. Well,
One of the big security men tugs on Wacker's sleeve and points up to the big screen. Very obviously, the only thing live and direct on 23 at the moment is the zigzag telethon. Wacker's fake smile turns real and nasty.
throw them out.
Henry?
Exterior, Network 23, chopper, day. Sissy has taken the chopper back up with Edison, hanging on for dear life, places a call on the chopper view phone. Intercut between Edison and the chopper and Murray on the view phone. Murray has already done his duties as Uncle Xmas, but he's still dressed in a cheap, off-the-rack version of the green and silver Uncle Xmas outfit. Its lights blinking erratically. Behind him, we dimly hear his relatives squabbling off camera.
Edison? What are you doing on the chopper? All the pilots had the day off.
Yeah, thanks for the warning me. Murray, I need help. I'm onto a story.
What kind of story?
An Xmas story, Murray. The ghost of contracts past and corporate futures with 6,000 melting corpuscles as a garnish.
Oh. Well, Aunt Xavier and Aunt Christine won't talk to each other. Billy wouldn't eat the sewing loaf because it had goose-flavored implants instead of turkey. I hit the wrong button and bought 2 luxury skyboxes for the next scumball season. And I don't even like scumball. And now, my star reporter wants to pay overtime so he can cover the Morpheus data crash. Edison, the Morpheus computer goes down every other year. They just fix it.
Not this time. I was just out there. They don't even have anyone working on it. There are 6,000 people at Morpheus.
6,000 dead people. Merry Xmas, Edison.
Interior, Network 23 control. Tied on the controller screen as the data concerning Morpheus and its operations scroll past. The information flows past in a solid, unbroken stream, and the sound of the keys is crisp and assured. Angle widens to show the hands on the keyboard, Theora's, and then Theora herself as Edison comes striding in.
Theora! Just when Henry and I were getting along so well.
I know. You never gave me your credit, Rob.
What are you doing here?
Well, I was having a lovely traditional family Xmas with Sean and Winnie when Max interrupted the telethon and told me your troubles.
Ah, traditions. I love them. I'm just an old-fashioned guy at heart.
The baby was crying and so was Winnie because Sean was spending too much. The dinner was burned while they fought over the remote. They spent more in one night than they make in a month.
And there was just a crutch at the end of the table. Where Tiny Tim used to sit. We had 2 crutches, but burned one for kindling.
I have found out a few interesting things about the Morpheus Corporation. A week ago, they were acquired in toto by Seppuku Investments. All very legal and above board. Seppuku has terminated all the old Morpheus employees and put their own man in charge.
Jerome Wacker, right. Doesn't make sense, though. Seppuku's a corporate raider. They buy undervalued companies, sell off the tangible assets, and make a quick killing.
Yes, true. But Morpheus has more liabilities than assets. Seppuku is taking on 6,000-odd contracts in perpetuity and getting what? One refrigerated warehouse, which they've already sold,
What about the clients?
to be moved to a new out-of-city facility. They had that scheduled for next week, but I would assume that Mr. Wacker has pushed up the timetable.
Well, it's not going to be easy to move that many corpsicles on Xmas.
Oh, certainly not, or on any day for that matter. They would need refrigerated trucks, a fleet of them. Oh, let me call up a list of company vehicles. 12 cars for company officers and 5 refrigerated hearses to bring in new clients.
Well, I doubt they're planning to move the bodies one by one. Couldn't they just lease the trucks?
There's no record of it. Maybe we'd better take a look at this new facility.
Insert computer screen. As Theora finds the address for the new facility the frozen dead are scheduled to be moved to outside the city, zooms in on it, and finally conjures up a graphic representation of the building, a rectangle twice as deep as it is square, with a front wall that folds up. Edison and Theora stare at the shape on the screen as she revolves it to study it from all sides. Max is interested too.
That's a peculiar building. Where's all the wiring and the plumbing?
My God, Edison, it's a post office box.
6,000 corpses in a 6-inch box?
FedEx? DeadX. I smell a marketing opportunity. I love crowded parties, but that's ridiculous.
End of Act 2. Act 3. Interior. Big time.
No time for a commercial?
Day.
Ching.
Interior, big time television day. Edison is on the view phone explaining what he and Theora have uncovered to Blank Reg and Dominique. Dom is very upset, and Blank Reg is consoling her.
There, Dom. It'll be fine. Edison will put a stop to all this nonsense. Won't you, mate?
I'll do what I can. I'm going up to see Bryce. Maybe he can shed some light on all this.
How bad can it be, Dom? Whatever happens, she'll still be dead. All right. Just sit here and relax for a few minutes, love. I'll get you a nice cuppa and you can watch the show.
I don't want to watch a bloody Ponderosa Christmas.
All right then. I'll put on network 23. There. You can shop if you like.
On screen, Uncle Xmas is hawking Zigzag's inflatable Viking longboat. No sooner is the remote in her hand than Dom buys one. We hear the distinctive ding that signifies a home shopping purchase, and details of the transaction flash on the screen.
There, you're feeling better already, aren't you?
When Dom doesn't answer, Reg goes off and makes her the soy milk. As Reg exits, Dom lifts the remote and buys again, triggering another ding. Ding.
You rang? And remember, every time a bell rings, an angel has just gotten his wings. And things.
Interior, Bryce's lab. Bryce, remote in hand, is watching the telethon and home shopping. On screen, Uncle Xmas demonstrates a sleeper sizer, a sort of unholy union between a bed, electric chair, and a Nautilus machine.
Too busy for exercise? Make time for fitness with Zigzag Sleeper Sizer and work out while you sleep. Small electrical charges tone and firm the muscles, and the Zigzag's patented roto-roller system will bend you, stretch you, and shape you with a soothing rhythmic motion, guaranteed not to disturb your dreams. Buy now and snore your way to a perfect body.
A perfect body. What a concept. What a gift for the head who has everything. Except a muscular neck. No neck in the north. Tough crowd. Keep her going.
Bryce, I don't see you ordering anything.
I bought the new Zigzag laser holography module. If I need a perfect body, I can project one. Shouldn't you be at home shopping?
Yeah, this doesn't have the Christmas spirit.
Bryce, could you tell me about cryogenics?
The science of freezing living organisms? They've taken frogs, replaced their blood with cryonic fluids, and stored them at absolute zero for up to 5 years. When the frog is thawed and given new blood, it hops right off. Hop, hop.
Well, you said living organisms. What if you freeze a dead frog?
At absolute zero, you can arrest the process of decay almost indefinitely, store the body for centuries.
And when you thaw it out?
It'll be just as fresh as the day it died.
Well, what about restoring life?
Please, sometimes they can get the heart beating or the lungs working. You could hook it up to one of those sleeper sizers and give it a workout too, but that doesn't mean it's alive.
Interior, big time television, dusk. Dom has fallen asleep in the chair where we last saw her. Blank Reg, a cartoon of zigzag swaynog in hand, gently pulls a blanket up over her, scowls at the Network 23 telethon, and switches the screen over to the big time, where the electric U-log again fills the screen. Reg sits back down at the control console.
This is Big Time Television, where our Xmas marathon will continue in a moment, with more of the shows you've never forgotten, even when you tried. Coming up, we have A Christmas Carol with Alice the Sim, and then we'll have A Christmas Carol with George C. Scott, and then the condensed version of A Christmas Carol with Gary Coleman, Emmanuel Lewis, and Javier Villacera as the ghosts. No! Bugger all that. Here's Christmas on Gilligan's Island.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a faithful trip.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. You mean they're still on that island? You know how many times I've phoned the Coast Guard? Ginger, Mary Ann, lovey. Banana cream pie, those bamboo exercise bikes. But seriously, Reg, what I want to know is, what happened to those 8 tiny reindeer when Uncle Xmas got his zigzag jet copter? Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, he was probably smashed. But haven't seen him around lately, have we? Eh?
Ought to just abolish the whole bloody season, if you ask me.
What? No plum pudding or mistletoe? No stockings hung by the telly with care?
A bloody sham is what it is, Max. All that sentiment softens the brain, you know. Look at what it's done to poor Dawn. The rest of the year, she knows her mum is dead. Then Xmas comes around, and Dawn has a soy nog and watches Christmas Carol and starts talking like mum's going to be home in time for dinner. For once, someone ought to tell the bloody truth about Xmas.
Max's face lights up and we know he's got a mission. Montage, series of shots. As Max takes to the airwaves, displacing Uncle Xmas in the zigzag telethon as he goes global. Intercut, using burn-ins to establish Max being watched in the desolation of the fringes and by the various of 20 minutes into the future regulars. Murray, surrounded by his squabbling family, Bryce in his lab, Cheviot alone in the darkened boardroom, Sissy in her chopper, and a very, very unhappy Pedzine in Zigzag headquarters.
This is Max Headroom for Network 23, coming to you live and direct with the truth about Xmas. Or Swagger. X-Max. Be the first kid on your block to have your very own global holiday. It all began a very, very long time ago, when 3 wise guys were out in the desert at night and decided to follow a star and get his autograph. But when they reached the inn, they found that the shepherds had booked all of the rooms. One had even left a chocolate on the pillow. At least I think it was a chocolate. Probably the beginning of the Yule log. They spent the night in a manger, where a little drummer boy kept them awake for hours, going dun 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 dun. And in the morning, they were so tired that they wished they had never been born. The three ghosts of Christmas, Mo, Larry, and Shemp, granted the wish, and Mr. Potter and Ebenezer Scrooge formed a corporation and wired the little town of Bethlehem for porno vision. So nobody knew Bob Cratchit, except by his porno name, Bob Cratchit. But then home shopping was invented, and now all of us can sit in the comfort of our own living rooms and still get the goose hanging in the window at the butcher shop on the corner. No, the big one, dear boy. The big one. The one that's glistening. Fat like a goose. You know? Here's half a crown, dear boy. But just remember, Jacob Marley still bears the chains he forged in life. Got me twisting him under you. That's the way.
Interior.
Oh, flop sweat.
Interior, Network 23 boardroom. Over the viewphone, Pet Zink is expressing his extreme displeasure with Ben Cheviot.
All purchases have stopped. Every moment this continues, Zigzag loses approximately 4 million yen. Xmas telethon sales account for 1/3 of Zigzag's gross annual receipts.
I understand. I'll take care of it at once.
Pet Zing glowers. The viewphone goes dark. Cheviot turns to the screen, extremely upset.
Tell me this isn't happening. Tell me you're not doing this to us, Max.
Ugh. Perhaps it's just a bit of undigested cheese. A gob of mustard. But there's more of bites than bites about me, I'd venture.
You want to know the truth about Xmas? The truth is that if Xmas fails, Zigzag fails. And if Zigzag fails, Network 23 fails. And if Network 23 fails, Murray, Theora, Edison, Bryce are all unemployed. We sell off our satellites, we scrap our computers. Give me back our network!
In the first hour of Xmas, my credit bought for me.
And
One extra leg and therefore an extra knee. I'm finished.
And so singing, Max vanishes with a burst of static in mid-bar as Network 23 returns to its zigzag telethon. Interior, Network 23 control, night. Theora is still hunched over the computer as Edison returns to the control room.
Seppuku doesn't miss a beat. They're turning everything into liquid credit. Antiquated computers, uniforms, paper clips.
Dead frogs. Can you get into their financial files?
Well, those are protected, but not very well protected.
She's too skilled for the security programming she's faced with. She breaks through easily. As she works, Max appears on a nearby screen looking hurt and chastened.
Does Xmas always make people so depressed and irritable?
Usually. Quiet, Max, we're working. Okay, sealed bids looks like at least one Morpheus asset was valuable enough for our friends at Seppuku to auction.
Insert computer screen. As details of the auction bid scroll by neatly ordered in columns under headings that read bidder, bidder received, total bid, price per unit. We move in slowly to the bidder column until we can read the names of the firms bidding on this auction. Crazy Bruce's, Medic Mike's, Poundo Flesh, Shiner's Spares, Wall Drops, Nightingales, the Fleshmonger. Angle on Theora as she freezes the display with a touch of a finger. Extreme close and on screen. The word Nightingale strokes on and off, on and off. Back to the screen. Theora is horrified, but Edison has simply confirmed what he suspected since he talk with Bryce.
Edison, they've auctioned off the clients to the body banks.
6,000 bodies? That's a lot of spare parts.
Of course, credit and carry. The buyers provide the trucks. But with this morning's computer failure, the bodies won't keep.
No wonder Whacker was so anxious to clear out the visitors. He's moving them now.
Interior, Morpheus, cryonics chamber, night. The heavy insulated door slides open with a resounding crash and stays open. Outside, a heavy refrigerated semi-end has been backed up to the entrance. Squads of workers in body bank coveralls enter the vault to be met by Whacker and his SS security team.
Come on, we don't have all day. Get them out of here. Let's go get a move on it.
The body bank workers spread out and began to grab the clients and carry them out to the waiting trucks. In a series of quick shots, we see workers lifting a big man by his arms and legs, flinging another man into the back of the truck, brushing the ice cubes off the grandmother we'd earlier seen so vigorously defended. One worker pauses over the frozen cat, looks puzzled, shrugs, and takes it out to the truck. Finally, a body bank laborer moves past with an old woman in his arms. We move in tight and we recognize Dominique's mum. End of Act 3. Act 4. Exterior, Nightingale's night. The bodies of the Morpheus clients are being offloaded from a large truck onto a moving conveyor belt that carries them inside the body bank. Whacker and several of his security staff are supervising operations, chatting with Florence while body bank workers efficiently move the corpuscles to truck to belt. Suddenly, a wind kicks up all around them, sending trash scurrying down the street. Everyone stops, grabs hats and papers, and looks up as the shadow of the Network 23 chopper falls upon them. Whacker and the others, chopper point of view. This is a Vidicam shot. Whacker and companions gape upward at this descending chopper. Finally, realizing it's coming straight for them, they dash for safety. Exterior, Nightingales. The chopper slams down hard near the base of the conveyor belt, just where moments before Whacker and the others were standing. It's a terrible landing. Half on the sidewalk, half on the street. The chopper cants crookedly.
But, honest, I've done dozens of landings, and this has never happened before.
Well, there's some honor in being your first, I suppose.
He examines his Vidicam. On the Vidicam, it makes a popping, glitching noise.
The sun sing very intermittent.
Sorry, 23, stay linked if you can.
You madman. You could have killed us all. You could have killed me.
Well, can't blame a guy for trying.
I don't have time for this or for you. Get rid of him.
We're not on corporate property now, Mr. Whacker. This is a public street, and you're going to answer some questions for a few billion people.
Interior, Network 23, control, night. Edison's Vidicam picture is mostly shash. Theora works frantically to keep the link.
Edison, you're breaking up. Edison!
Exterior, Nightingale's night. Edison takes a look at his Vidicam. No red tally light. Whacker's men see this too. Not surprisingly, they take this as an invitation to beat the shit out of Edison.
That's why he's standing in for me tonight. Stunt double.
Edison doesn't wait around. He starts backing up.
Theora!
Exterior, the fringe, night. Max appears on a screen where a pair of Neo-Mongolian squatters watch Network 23.
And a Merry Xmas to you. Are you happy?
The squatters look at each other and shrug. We may infer that they don't understand the language.
All right. Good talk. Never mind.
Interior, fringe, condo box, night. It's a pretty dismal place, small, built of something only slightly more durable than cardboard. The condo box is furnished with scavenged and mismatched chairs, bricks and boards, shelves, that sort of thing. In one corner is an ancient TV and VCR, upon which we see portions of some Network 23 Xmas broadcast, something involving the lighting of a huge Xmas tree. Two people are here, a rather bedraggled woman of perhaps 45 or a worn-out 35-year-old named Bonnie, and a boy of about 10 whom we will call Corey. Bonnie is watching TV and knitting, and Corey is sitting on the floor helping, which means he's holding the yarn or doing whatever it is you do when you're helping your mother knit.
Wow, Mom, look at that tree.
It's big, isn't it? I remember having a big Xmas tree when I was a little girl.
Max appears on the screen replacing the tree. He's about to speak when Corey does first. Neither of them reacts to Max's presence on the screen. Well, why should they? He's often on Network 23.
Did you buy presents for yourself, too?
No. No, in those days, we gave things to others.
Setting aside her knitting,
Which reminds me, I have a present for you.
she gets up and goes over to her bare shelves where there is a small cardboard box wrapped with a tattered red ribbon. She presents the box to Corey. Max is watching all of this.
What is it?
Open it.
It's a video, but what kind is it?
Those letters say, "We learn to read with Dr. Friendly." Maybe by next Xmas, you'll be able to read it for yourself.
Bonnie smiles. Corey gives her a hug.
I have something for you, too.
As he goes to get his present, Max sniffles. Maybe it's the holidays. And he exits. Exterior, Nightingale's night. Edison is racing back toward the chopper where Sissy waits with Whacker and his thugs on his heels. When he reaches her, he hands her the biddy cam.
Here, hold this.
And he turns just in time to deck his first assailant. Sissy, meanwhile, takes a look at the malfunctioning biddy cam, throws a couple of switches, and sees the red tally light go on. Interior, Network 23, control. The Aura suddenly sees a clear picture of Edison struggling with Whacker.
Edison, you're live and direct.
The three people who are about to beat up on Edison freeze, and they look at the biddy cam in Sissy's hands. Edison takes the opportunity to free himself, rubbing the back of his neck. He walks over to Sissy and accepts the biddy cam from her.
Thanks. This makes up for the landing.
Sissy sticks her tongue out. Edison names the biddy cam at Whacker.
This is Edison Carter coming to you live and direct from Nightingales, where Morpheus Corporation's CEO Jerome Whacker is about to tell us why he chose Xmas Day to sell 6,000 of his customers to a body bank.
I'll have you know the bodies were auctioned off well before Xmas Day. See here, Carter. We've done nothing wrong. Our acquisition of Morpheus and its assets was perfectly legal.
With the biddy cam, Edison heads for the conveyor belt where the bodies continue to roll into Nightingales.
Are these the assets you're speaking of?
Yes. Assets the previous Morpheus management was squandering.
That previous Morpheus management called them guests.
Sentimental tripe. Those aren't people. Those are livers, kidneys, corneas, hands, and feet. My concern is for the living.
Your guests were living when Morpheus signed them to a perpetual contract that guaranteed they would remain frozen until they could be successfully revived and returned to life.
You're leaving out a very important point, Mr. Carter. The contracts guaranteed that these guests would be kept frozen until they could be revived, or until such a time as revival is shown to be scientifically impossible. Our experts assure us this is the case.
One of the Nightingale's workers hauls the frozen cat out of the truck.
Life after death is a pipe dream, Mr. Carter. Revival is a scientific impossibility. Call them guests, if you like. But don't tell me they're just taking naps. These are dead guests, Mr. Carter.
The worker puts the cat on the conveyor belt right next to Whacker.
They are not merely dead, they are really most sincerely dead. Do you understand? Not napping, not a little under the weather, not stunned. Dead! 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 Dead!
The cat is rolling past just then, and Whacker, for emphasis, slaps it soundly on this final dead. The cat hisses furiously and throws himself at Whacker. As Network 23 global holiday audience of millions look on, every bit as shocked as Edison is. Interior, Network 23 control. Edison's video cam view of the struggling cat is seen on the screen.
He moved.
Interior, Network 23, Bryce's lab. The same broadcast plays here. Bryce looks up from the video Xmas catalog and sees the all-too-live cat chewing up Whacker. He says nothing. He merely stares at the screen, open-mouthed. How often is Bryce contradicted in the same 12 pages? Interior, Murray's apartment. Murray is in the background having yet another argument with some of his relatives. In the front, his daughter Denise is watching at the TV.
Daddy!
Interior, big-time bus. Reg is queuing up some new tapes so the Xmas marathon continues. Dom comes racing in and grabs him, hauling him towards the TV.
Reg, come look!
Exterior, Nightingale's night. As Whacker wrestles himself free of the cat, which runs away through Edison's legs.
I'm afraid, Mr. Whacker, that your reports of this cat's death are greatly exaggerated.
There must be some mistake. You planted that cat here.
Come off it, Whacker. 10 million people saw that cat frozen stiff less than an hour ago. It's all in your databanks. Come here, kitty.
The cat regards Edison rightly, with some suspicion, but ultimately decides he's okay. She comes over to where Edison can pick her up.
How many other dead bodies have this much life in them, Mr. Whacker? You claim to be concerned about the living. If there's any chance that these people are still alive, how can you possibly think of breaking them up for spare parts?
Whacker, looking as dead as a coffin nail in the public relations sense, his acquisition of the Morpheus guest is at an end. Exterior, Network 23 night, establishing. We hear the sounds of Xmas music mixed with Edison's wrap-up.
So, in the tradition of the best Xmas stories, this one has a happy ending. The guests of the Morpheus will be allowed to sleep on undisturbed, while a new team of researchers investigates the more likely possibility of revival. This is Edison Carter. Merry Xmas.
Interior, Network 23, control. The place looks festive as an impromptu Xmas party takes shape. Leora is here, so is Bryce, so is Sissy and Henry. Murray has shown up. He and Edison are pouring eggnog or some other Xmas drink in Murray's cubicle.
A little toast to the biggest Xmas story in Network 23 history. Chin chin.
They all clink plastic cups and look up as Reg and Dominique enter control. Dom is dragging a very reluctant Reg.
But Dom, Alvin and the Chickmunks will be over in 5 minutes.
I think you only takes a minute, Reg, darling. This is for Mum, after all. Edison, thank you, thank you, thank you.
In her typical dramatic fashion, she throws her arm around him and gives him a kiss.
Thanks for giving me a story.
There's a commotion out in the control proper. Murray, Reg, Dom, and Edison look out and see Cheviot and Miss Cheviot dressed in their holiday finest carrying presents into control.
Merry Xmas, everyone!
He starts handing out packages. Bryce eagerly unwraps his. He finds a Network 23 promotional hat.
What's this?
What does it look like? It's a hat. Go on, put it on.
He does, and he looks suitably ridiculous. Laura can't help laughing. Then she opens her package. Same thing. Bryce laughs at her.
Noble opposition.
He hands them packages too. Edison and Theora comparing presents. Max appears on the screen.
Yes, yes, that's it. 'Tis better to give than to receive. That's the true meaning of Xmas. Come on, get with it.
Edison and Theora exchange presents.
Aw, perfect.
Have you heard how they're trying to get you to buy gifts for other people in addition to what you buy for yourself?
There are times, Edison, when I do think Xmas is getting a little too commercial.
They put down their presents and pick up their holiday drinks. Max, one last shot.
I know you're probably thinking that I had something to do with that cat, which I deny emphatically, completely, you might say categorically. Now, what will I do for Easter? United Airlines has already killed the giant bunny.
End of Act 4. End of Act.